When you hear the term operational resilience, it kind of sounds, well, a little boring, right? Like some back office chore. But what if I told you it could be your most powerful competitive advantage? That's what we're going to dig into today, how to make that exact shift.
This really is the fundamental question, isn't it? Every leader out there should be asking themselves this. Because, let's be honest, disruptions aren't a matter of if anymore, they're a matter of when. We see it all the time: cyber attacks, supply chain chaos, sudden market shocks. And being able to bend without breaking, well, that's what separates the true market leaders from the ones that become, well, cautionary tales.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about something called the digital resilience gap. Basically, why the old ways just aren't cutting it anymore. Then, we'll introduce a whole new way of thinking, the DVMS paradigm. After that, we'll pop the hood and look at its core engine. And finally, we'll tie it all together and show you how this becomes a real, honest-to-goodness strategic advantage for your business. Okay, so let's start with the big problem here. We're living in this hyper-connected digital world, right? But so many companies are still trying to tackle today's problems with yesterday's playbook. And that, well, that's creating a really dangerous gap. The absolute core of the issue is fragmentation. Seriously, just think about your own organization for a second. You've got your governance team, your risk team, your performance team. Are they all working together in perfect sync? Or are they stuck in their own little silos? Yeah, for most companies, it's silos. And that's a huge problem. It creates these massive blind spots where you literally can't see how a risk decision in one department is impacting the company's overall value. And this slide just lays it all out, right? It's a tale of two mindsets. On one side, you have the old school traditional view. Resilience is basically firefighting. It's reactive, it's seen as just a cost, and all the controls are buried in different departments. But where we need to be, the modern imperative, is totally different. It's proactive. It sees resilience as something that actually drives value. It's about integrated governance. It's a complete shift from playing defense to playing offense. So the big question is, how do we fix this? How do we bridge that gap? Well, the answer lies in a major paradigm shift. It's called the Digital Value Management System, or DVMS for short. And it's a totally new way of thinking that puts the focus squarely on governing value. Now, it's so important to get this. DVMS isn't just another corporate buzzword or some complicated framework you're going to forget in a week. No, it's a fully integrated system. What it does is it fundamentally redefines resilience. It's no longer a separate problem to be solved over in a corner. Instead, it gets embedded right into the core engine of your organization, right into how you create and protect value day in and day out. You can really see the change here. It's all about moving from silos to synergy. In the old way, you've got this fragmented mess where risk, performance, and governance teams might as well be in different buildings. They barely talk. But in the DVMS model, everything feeds into one central hub. And every single decision gets measured against one simple thing. Does this protect and enhance our digital value? That unification, that is everything. Okay, so DVMS sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work? Let's get into the mechanics. The whole system is built on two really powerful foundational pillars. The first pillar is, honestly, a total game changer. It's called evidence-based assurance. And this is all about moving past the, I think we're secure mindset, It's about getting way beyond simple check-the-box compliance. It demands cold, hard proof. And this quote just nails it. It really gets to the heart of the matter. The old way was just about checking a box. Hey, do we have a firewall? Yep, check. Done. But DVMS, it forces you to ask a much, much tougher and more important question. Is our firewall demonstrably effective against the threats we're actually facing right now? See the difference? It's demanding proof, not just promises. So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, the system is constantly pulling in live operational data to prove that your controls are doing their job. And this creates this incredible, powerful feedback loop. You get real insights from your data, you take action based on those insights, and then the results of those actions become new evidence, new data, which just drives this cycle of continuous improvement. It's a closed-loop system. All right, the second pillar is every bit as crucial. It's called explicit accountability. And let's be real, we've all been there, right? Something goes wrong and suddenly it's impossible to figure out who is actually responsible. Well, this pillar fixes that once and for all.
What DVMS does is create true ownership. It's not fuzzy, it establishes crystal clear lines of accountability, it defines exactly who has the right to make what decisions and who is responsible for specific outcomes. It then directly connects what people do to measurable results. And what that does is foster a culture where people are actively owning their roles, not just passively sitting back and monitoring things. Okay, so we've talked about the what and the how. Now let's connect all this to the why. Why does this matter? Because this is how you turn resilience into a genuine strategic advantage that actually hits the bottom line.
This right here, this is where the shift becomes truly strategic. With a system like DVMS, resilience stops being that dusty disaster recovery binder that's sitting on a shelf somewhere. Instead, it becomes a vital sign. It's an active, daily measure of your organization's health, of its ability to perform under pressure. So you're not just thinking about recovering from failure anymore, you're focused on constantly sustaining value.
And you know what they say? What gets measured gets managed. Because resilience is now baked into your performance metrics, it becomes a totally quantifiable driver of success. Think about it. A resilient operation directly protects your revenue. It prevents that infuriating downtime that drives customers crazy. And ultimately, that's what creates a powerful, lasting competitive advantage. This whole evidence-based approach just fundamentally changes how you make big strategic calls. You can finally move with real confidence. So whether you're thinking about investing in some new tech or maybe expanding into a new market, you're not just guessing anymore. You have a data-driven, objective understanding of the situation, which lets you balance risk and reward with actual precision. And that right there is the ultimate transformation. By putting a system like DVMS in place, you shift resilience away from being that necessary evil. Just another cost center, another line item on the budget. Instead, it becomes a proactive, strategic enabler. It's a tool that actually helps your business navigate uncertainty and smash its goals. So let's leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Take a really hard, honest look at your own organization. Are you guys just monitoring resilience, kind of crossing your fingers and hoping for the best? Or are you actively governing value? Because the answer to that question, well, it could very well define your company's future.